Alright, it's Friday, December 6, 2024. Fireworks erupting in a congressional hearing yesterday between Republicans and the acting director of the Secret Service. Why? What happened? Well, there's a backstory here. Also, Barack Obama stepping up to deliver some direction to his flailing party and giving us some insight into why Joe Biden must deliver these sweeping pardons that we're hearing about. Crazy. And we have an update also on these mysterious car-sized drones in Morris County, New Jersey. The story just got a whole lot stranger. We have a statement from the mayor of Florham Park about this, talking about some of the creepy things these drones or these UAP have been seen and captured on video doing. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out the channel. And consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. So Donald Trump's Butler, Pennsylvania rally will go down as one of the most historically significant political rallies in presidential history. But the act that made it so significant is already the most forgotten. It's now been 5 months, almost 6 months, since Thomas Matthew Crooks tried to assassinate Donald Trump at that Pennsylvania rally and killed an innocent father and husband in the process. We've been following this investigation since it happened, trying to ask questions, and we still know very, very little. What was Crooks' motive for the shooting? How did the Secret Service even let this guy get 8 shots off? Why was his house professionally scrubbed? What did the FBI find when they finally broke into his phone? How did a 20-year-old come to possess 2 improvised explosive devices that they found in the trunk of his car? And what was he planning on using them for? None of these questions do we have the answers for. It's been almost 6 months. Ask yourself, do we know anything more about this guy than we did the day after this happened? And the answer is no, absolutely no, we don't. The last official update we got was on August 28th, in which the FBI told us they don't have a definitive motive and they haven't uncovered any credible evidence for co-conspirators. That's it. 3.5 months since the last update. Well, yesterday, Republicans in Congress tried to find some of these answers by holding a hearing with the acting Secret Service director. Watch this.
Congressman, what you're not seeing is the sack of the detail out of the picture's view. And that is the day where we remember the more than 3,000 people that have died on 9/11. I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you,
Congressman.
Were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect
You were not.
for a Secret Service member that died on 9/11.
Oh, that you're trying to be.
Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes.
Oh, I'm not. I'm invoking this.
You are, sir.
Gentlemen,
And you are out of line.
I would like to ask him a question.
Please.
You are out
Don't
of
try
line,
to bully
Congressman.
me. Don't try to bully me.
Order.
I'm an elected member of Congress, and I'm asking you a serious question, and you were
I
playing
am a public
politics.
servant who has served this nation and
You
spent
won't answer the
time
question.
on our day, on our country's darkest
Mr.
day.
Chairman,
Committee
you will
will
not
come
Do
answer-
to
not
order.
politicize it.
So instead of answering their questions, serious questions from our elected representatives, this guy lashes out, provides zero information, no new information. All he says is, we don't want to rush to judgment. The DOJ withheld requested info from Congress about this shooter. They're not telling us what was on his phone, even though they know what's on it. They're withholding information that Congress is demanding. The whole thing just reeks like a cover-up. This is as high-profile a crime as you get. Someone shooting Donald Trump in the head, and we get nothing. Absolutely nothing. January 20th can't come soon enough. We need Kash Patel in that job, in the FBI director spot, who, by the way, Kash plans on setting up a 24/7 declassification office, which would be awesome to constantly roll out new information. We need change, and we need it yesterday. And our next story ties into this, actually. Barack Obama comes out this week to provide some direction to the Democrat Party. In this speech, he accuses the Republicans of cheating and politicizing the Justice Department, but also in the process gives the green light to Biden on these pardons that he's about to issue. That's how I interpreted this. Pardons for all the Obamaites, for Liz Cheney, Anthony Fauci, Adam Schiff, for anyone and everyone who went after Donald Trump over the last 8 years, saying when you have one side stacking the deck, going after their opponents, sometimes you have to do things you wouldn't otherwise want to do. That's basically what he said. Watch this.
There are going to be times, potentially, when one side tries to stack the deck and lock in a permanent grip on power, either by actively suppressing votes or politicizing the armed forces or using the judiciary, the criminal justice system to go after opponents. And in those circumstances, pluralism does not call for us to just stand back and say, well, I'm not sure. That's okay. In those circumstances, a line has been crossed, and we have to stand firm.
It's like we're living in the upside down. I've heard this like over and over again the last few days. These high-profile Dems coming out saying Republicans are using the judiciary to go after opponents. Barack Obama just said that. He just said that they're using the judiciary to go after their opponents. This is called projection. But it's more than that, right? They don't believe this for a minute. I don't think they believe it. They know they're the ones who are doing this, who use the justice system for politics, and now it's coming back to bite them. They're saying this to give themselves cover for the massive number of pardons that Joe Biden's getting ready to dish out. And it's not only Obama saying this. Listen to CNN yesterday. It's like mind-numbing how backwards all of this is. Watch.
The question is, would they accept a pardon? Because if you don't think you did anything wrong, which they didn't, they might want to not take a pardon. But I will say this. You're talking about an unprecedented crew of people coming in. Listen, even if they don't indict you, they could investigate you into bankruptcy, torture you with FBI investigations. Kash Patel is evidently going to be our next FBI director. Is that what you want to be dealing with for the rest of your life?
Trump during the time he was out of office?
President Trump got actually indicted by a grand jury.
They tried to bankrupt him. They
oh my God.
raided his house.
Trump's DOJ didn't go after Democrats. Trump never did that. It was Biden's DOJ that arrested and threw in prison dozens of Trump's allies. Even Trump himself they arrested. You all know this. So do I think this is just them projecting what they're guilty of? I don't. I think this is Barack Obama going out in public, unenthusiastically, reluctantly delivering the new talking points to his party, telling them this is how you answer questions about the pardons that are coming. In another story, we have an update on the mysterious drones or UAP that have been hovering over Morris County, New Jersey for the last 2 weeks. This is a much, much bigger story than you're hearing on corporate media. The Biden administration is now involved. Congress is now involved, obtaining a briefing on this morning.
So after this classified briefing concludes, we hope to learn more about what happened in it. But we talked to Congressman Burchett before he walked in there. Mike, he says one of the reasons he didn't want to show up is if he learns something new or something he already knows, he's technically not supposed to even talk about it.
If these are not little green aliens, who do lawmakers think is responsible for these drones?
It started with just local police, then the state police got involved, and the FBI last week joined the investigation. Then Biden's FAA issued a no-fly zone over the area for all drone activity. Well, that was a week ago. And the crafts are returning every single night, right around dusk, hovering over people's homes, critical infrastructure, and even over military base Picatinny Arsenal. Watch this.
That mystery continues in the sky over New Jersey. People now reporting even more drone sightings. Law enforcement confirms there have been sightings in Morris, Somerset, and Warren counties. Nick Calloway has been on top of this story from the beginning and has the latest.
It definitely wasn't a plane because it was too low. And it was also going back and forth and then forwards and backwards.
Melissa Kasilniak took this cell phone video Wednesday night from her home in Chatham in Morris County. She says that large object with the flashing red and green lights was hovering just above her neighbor's rooftops.
I think the creepy part is not that it's just a drone, that they're so large.
And something I'm starting to notice is drones are like the new scapegoat for the U.S. government and for the media. They used to blame these UAP sightings on swamp gas. It's just swamp gas. Don't worry about it. Now they're blaming them on drones. Well, this is too big to blame on civilian drones. The crafts are apparently the size of cars, and everyone is seeing them. Morris County is like a super populated area. The mayor of Florham Park came out last night and said these things are huge. They're at least the size of a small car, and that he's been in contact with the authorities who have no answers for him yet, but that they believe there's nefarious intent behind them and that they're hovering over our critical infrastructure. Fox News even reporting that the drones are affecting residents' electronics. When they hover over your house or your car, your clocks will stop working. Then when they leave or the car drives away, all of a sudden your clock starts to work again. Roll the tape.
A flying drone mystery raising alarms in New Jersey. There are clusters of large drones swarming the skies near the Bedminster Golf Club belonging to President-elect Trump. What is going on? Nate Foy with an update in our newsroom. Hi, Nate.
Hey, Dana. So one witness says it's like a parade. The drones just keep coming one after another, and you can hear them coming because they're so loud. Listen to the power of this drone last night. So residents in Morris County tell me this has been happening every single night with the exception of Thanksgiving over the past few weeks. One family claims they followed a drone in their car, and while it hovered above them, the clock in their car changed times. Then they say the clock went back to normal after they drove off. Witnesses also talk about the size of these drones. Some say they can be as big as a small car. Despite the growing concern, though, Morris County officials insist, quote, there continues to be no known threat to public safety. But residents tell Fox they're becoming more worried. The FAA is continuing to temporarily restrict flights over Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster and the Picatinny Arsenal military base. But authorities in Morris County this morning say they have no new information to share as the mystery continues.
They look like a small car to me. Their wingspans are probably 6 feet across.
Mark Taylor is the mayor of Florham Park, one town north of Chatham.
People are calling myself, my home. It's one of those things where they are alarmed.
The FBI is investigating the clusters of possible drones reported over the last few weeks. Florham Park's police chief sent a message to residents that drone sightings have been reported above critical infrastructure, such as water reservoirs, electric transmission lines, rail stations, police departments, and military installations. He added that their presence appears nefarious in nature.
Now look, the first question I have is why hasn't the military shot one down? Well, I have some info about that. First, you could argue Morris County, like I said, very populated area, the metropolitan area, one of the most populated places in the country. If you shoot one down, you risk affecting or damaging property, hurting civilians. But according to legendary investigative journalist George Knapp, who is super looped in on this subject, he has phenomenal contacts over at the DOD, knows a lot of people. He says the military did try to take one down using our advanced anti-drone tech, and they failed. Our technology has no effect on these things, he says. Watch this.
We build craft that look like their craft. They build craft that look like ours. It's underway right now. These drone things that are popping up over air bases, drones, a nice prosaic term that calms us down. Well, maybe somebody went to Amazon and bought one or Walmart or something. They're trying to shoot those things down. They haven't been able to using the kind of sophisticated anti-drone technology. It doesn't work on these things. I think those drones they're something else, and they're telling us something.
All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
If you walk around the streets of San Francisco and many downtowns, so go to downtown Philadelphia right now, you know, they call the people homeless, but the homeless is the wrong term. Violent drug zombie.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, you know, you look at them, you say like, homeless is a misnomer. It implies that someone got a little behind on their mortgage, and if you just offer them a job, they'd be back on their feet.
Yeah.
No, but if you go and look at downtown Philly or San Francisco or parts of New York, and actually most downtowns, what you actually have are violent drug zombies. So they're like shuffling down the street with dead eyes, you know, and with like needles, you know, and human feces on the streets. I mean, you've been to downtown SF, right? Have you seen this?
Oh yeah, I was born there. Yeah.
like one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Oh, yes, the greatest.
And now you have to step over the drug needles and the feces and the bodies. If you walk around the streets of San Francisco and many downtowns, so go to downtown Philadelphia right now, you know, they call the people homeless, but the homeless is the wrong term. Violent drug zombie.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, you know, you look at them, you say like, homeless is a misnomer. It implies that someone got a little behind on their mortgage, and if you just offer them a job, they'd be back on their feet.
Yeah.
Now, no, but if you go and look at downtown Philly or San Francisco or parts of New York, and actually most downtowns, what you actually have are violent drug zombies. So they're like shuffling down the street with dead eyes, you know, and with like needles, you know, and human feces on the streets. I mean, you've been to downtown SF, right? Have you seen this?
Oh yeah, I was born there. Yeah.
Yeah. Like one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Oh yes, the greatest.
And now you have to step over the drug needles and the feces and the bodies.
12 years is a long time, I suppose. But I mean, humans just do take a long time to mature. So there's emotional maturity, physical maturity, and mental maturity that is happening simultaneously with the education. I mean, I suppose it could be done in 10 years. Perhaps it does not need 12. But then is someone mature at age 16? They're more likely to be mature at age 18. So I guess 12 years is probably not bad. We probably don't need an additional 4 or 5 or 6 years in college or university. That seems probably excessive. I think we would probably shave a few years off and be fine. 12 years is a long time, I suppose. But I mean, humans just do take a long time to mature. So there's emotional maturity, physical maturity, and mental maturity that is happening simultaneously with the education. I mean, I suppose it could be done in 10 years. Perhaps it does not need 12. But then is someone mature at age 16? They're more likely to be mature at age 18. So I guess 12 years is probably not bad. We probably don't need an additional 4 or 5 or 6 years in college or university. That seems probably excessive. I think we would probably shave a few years off and be fine.
Welcome to another edition of This Fucking Guy, the series where we pick one fucking guy who's making America worse and explore why they suck. I'm Erin Ryan, host of Crooked Media's Hysteria podcast.
And I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco, the other host of Crooked Media's Hysteria podcast.
And as you can probably see by our setup, we are in person today.
The most special of treats.
Alyssa, today we're going to dive into one of the best embodiments of the internet adage, nothing that only straight men like is cool. We will be looking into the life and times of the worst thing to come from South Africa since apartheid. A man who, despite growing evidence that he's, shall we say, not in the headspace to control space exploration, electric vehicle manufacturing, communications, or the biotech industry, is still being trusted with billions in government contracts and essentially being allowed to man the levers of the financial markets, all while rage tweeting fringe conspiracy theories and cozying up to extremists.
Of course, this is Elon. I never bought into the hype around Elon Musk. He always struck me as a weirdo who was more full of shit than porta potties at the end of the New York City Marathon.
That's pretty full of shit. Elon Musk became one of the richest people in the world by convincing enough people with power that he's a genius. But there's no there there. He's not a genius. He's not a scientist. He's not an engineer. He's not an innovator. He's a bullshitter. There are so many instances of Elon exaggerating or flat out spinning tall tales about his own prowess, but that was hard to not turn this video into a sprawling limited series a la Shogun.
But we love a good scam, so let's learn about the self-perpetuating scam that is Elon.
Strap in, Alyssa.
I'm ready.
Elon Reeve Musk was born on June 28, 1971, to a wealthy family of fucking weirdos in South Africa. His mother was a Canadian dietitian and model who has appeared on cereal boxes and the cover of Sports Illustrated. He has a brother, Kimball, who was once set up with one of Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriends, by Jeffrey Epstein himself. He's got a sister and a handful of half-siblings. Elon's father, Errol, a millionaire engineer who claims he's killed a few people, was half owner of a Zambian emerald mine in the 1980s, he says, and eventually fathered 2 children with his own stepdaughter, Jana, thus making him his own stepfather-in-law, I think.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes, that's right. An emerald mine. Elon hates this story because he really wants people to believe that he's a self-made guy and not some Lego-headed lord who grew up in one of the biggest houses in Pretoria.
No. Aaron, I meant the thing about his stepdaughter.
Oh, yeah, right. I assumed you meant mine. Yeah, in 1979, Elon's dad divorced Elon's mom, May, and later married a woman who had 2 children of her own. Errol helped raise them, had 2 kids with her, and then had 2 kids with one of the stepchildren when she was of age and he was old as fuck. Errol once told an interviewer, quote, "The only thing we're on this earth for is to reproduce."
I can see where Elon gets his creepy reproduction fetish.
Oh, we will get to that. Although to his credit, according to Elon biographer Walter Isaacson, Elon noticed and disapproved of the suspicious amount of attention his father was paying Jana, again, his own stepdaughter, when she was 15 years old and Errol was 56. Errol insists that he was equally interested in all of his children and stepchildren.
This video has already accomplished the impossible, Aaron, making me feel a little bit bad for Elon Musk.
Elon was reportedly a mediocre student in high school, but somehow got high enough grades to get into college in Canada, where his mom lived at the time. And while he was there, he somehow did well enough to transfer to an Ivy League university in the United States. As Musk tells it, he received degrees in physics and economics from UPenn in 1995, and then moved to California because he got into Stanford's PhD program, but dropped out after 2 days to be a full-time business boy genius. When the legend of Elon purports that he was the mental heft behind PayPal, Tesla, and SpaceX, people just kind of go along with it because the belief that Silicon Valley is teeming with prodigies and visionaries and not just a bunch of assholes screwing each other over like bankers in sweatpants is central to justifying the tech sector's very existence. First, let's get to Elon and PayPal. He did not co-found PayPal. He started his first company with some help from Daddy, sold that company to Compaq. Remember Compaq?
No, don't remember it at all.
Took the money he made from selling it and started a business called X.com.
Surely you can't mean the social media website formerly known as Twitter, or an early version of Tesla's Model X car, or the company SpaceX, or a site devoted to documenting the lives of one of his multiple children to whom he gave X names. Boy, he loves the letter X.
Yeah, it's his favorite letter. No, this was an even earlier company called X. Can you guess from the name what it did?
Sell erectile dysfunction medicines to impotent men in red states?
No, good guess. It was an online bank that somehow offered a product that was less good than PayPal, which I have to admit is an achievement because PayPal sucks. Point is, he named a bank after it because nothing conveys a sense of above-board safety and seriousness like a letter often used to denote the presence of a full bush in a film from the 1970s.
You know they call the inner circle of early PayPal the PayPal Mafia. Was Elon really anything like a Tony Soprano of online banking?
He was a Jackie Jr. at most. Once PayPal and X.com merged and X.com, like a dutiful wife, took PayPal's name, Musk became CEO because he had the most money. But he was so annoying that eventually PayPal founder and Silicon Valley supervillain Peter Thiel found him too irritating to work with, and so he quit. Well, the board eventually took Thiel's side and ousted Musk and replaced him with Thiel.
Imagine being more off-putting than Peter Thiel.
I cannot imagine it. Musk remained the largest shareholder in PayPal, however, which ended up translating to a $165 million windfall when eBay bought the site in 2002. He used that money to start a company called SpaceX.
Sounds like a souvenir boner pill sold in gas stations in Roswell, New Mexico.
From what I can tell, it started with a desire to send people to Mars. Elon has always dreamed of sending people to Mars. Elon and early space ally Michael Griffin traveled to Russia together to try to convince some Russians to sell them some ICBMs so that Musk could pretend to invent rockets. But the Russians weren't interested because Elon was not an astronaut, nor did he possess any particular expertise about space. He was just a guy who liked space a lot. Undaunted, Musk used his PayPal money to hire a bunch of people who did know what they were doing space-wise, and the company SpaceX blasted off.
Michael Griffin, that name sounds familiar.
That's because Griffin would go on to be a BFD at NASA, overseeing private partnership programs, including something called the Commercial Orbital Transportation Services, or COTS program. The program was designed to enlist private companies in transporting people and supplies to and from the International Space Station. Under Griffin, only 2 private companies were selected for the program. One of them was SpaceX. And thus began a long and fruitful career of SpaceX feeding from the prolific teat of Uncle Sam. In 2006, SpaceX was awarded a $396 million contract from NASA. Meanwhile, SpaceX didn't even have a rocket that worked. Its Falcon 1 program was sucking ass, unless you think a rocket that explodes can still be counted as a success. Its first 3 launches between 2006 and 2008 failed, putting the company on the brink of bankruptcy at the same time as Tesla and Musk himself in late 2008. But then, SpaceX got it on the 4th try, and as a prize for his company's one successful launch, Elon was given a $1.6 billion NASA contract that December. And it all blew up from there, both literally and figuratively.
Aaron, I think that when a SpaceX rocket explodes, it's called a rapid unscheduled disassembly when conscious uncoupling goes to space.
And we shouldn't downplay the fact that the company has seen some success. And progress in space exploration is by definition messy. But Elon is not making the rockets. He's not an engineer. He's simply the guy who benefits the most financially from the work of people who are building the rockets and satellites while rage tweeting about how NPR shouldn't get government money. Since 2020, at least 5 of SpaceX's attempts to launch its Starship into space have ended with the experimental aircraft blowing up. SpaceX is now worth more than $36 billion, though, having received $15.3 billion in government contracts. All this time, Elon won't stop yammering about sending people to Mars, but SpaceX has yet to demonstrate that they're even capable of sending people to the moon, which is a lot closer.
Easier.
NASA's plan has been to go back to the moon by the end of 2025, but if SpaceX can't do it, we can't do it. Side note about Michael Griffin, in 2018, Griffin would go on to be appointed Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering under President Donald Trump. One of his responsibilities was to award government contracts to build low-orbit national security satellites. Guess which company was one of 2 to win government contracts to build these Starlink satellites?
I'm going to say SpaceX.
Correct. And we also have Starlink's and by extension Musk's involvement in the Ukrainian defense against the Russian invasion launched in early 2022. Initially, SpaceX was awarded a government contract by the Department of Defense to provide satellite support for communications for Ukrainian civilians and military entities in their own self-defense. But multiple reports have indicated that Musk himself has been monkeying around with the satellites, interrupting communications, and thwarting attacks the Ukrainian military was attempting to carry out on Russian targets. The DoDs basically had to throw their hands up and be like, well, they're a private company. What can you do?
I don't know. Stop giving them contracts? Let somebody else build the satellites?
SpaceX's entire reason to exist is to guzzle government money. Think of the SpaceX part of his fortune like a GoFundMe designed to make the worst person you know even richer, and you cannot opt out of it. It's time to talk about Tesla.
Tesla, the preferred car of some of the biggest assholes you know.
The company was founded in 2003 by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning, 2 actual engineers. Elon invested $6.5 million into early Tesla and became chairman of the company's board, and immediately started taking credit for things. Eberhard and Tarpenning came up with the ideas, designed the actual cars, got all the company's ducks in a row to revolutionize the electric car market, and then, as thanks, in 2007, Musk ran both of them out of the company and started calling himself the founder of Tesla.
Kind of like an invasive species bird who pushes the eggs out of other birds' nests to lay their own.
Indeed, and then says you invented eggs.
Eggs, they're mine. I did it.
In 2008, Musk was forced to step down as chairman of the board of Tesla after falsely promising, via tweet Natch, that he had funding secured to take Tesla private at $420 per share, thus artificially inflating the share value in a way a teenage boy might. He was fined $20 million by the SEC over the stunt, and he agreed to have a social media minder approve his tweets before sending them.
How'd that go?
Elon had a wild summer. That July, Elon had offered to help the cave rescue of a trapped youth soccer team in Thailand with a submarine he invented. Let me remind you, Elon Musk is not an engineer, nor had his companies made anything designed to operate underwater. The actual guy who saved the kids, Vernon Unsworth, insulted Musk's silly little idea, saying in a TV interview that Musk could stick his imaginary submarine up his ass. Musk responded by tweeting that Unsworth, who again had just saved a kid's soccer team from cave death, was a pedo guy.
Pedo guy.
Musk got sued. During the trial, he claimed that pedo guy was a common insult in the English-speaking world.
Literally never heard that one before.
Me neither. Musk ended up prevailing in that suit, but not before wasting a bunch of his time and ours. But back to Tesla. The company has been in the news for its biggest layoffs ever. 14,000 people, or 10% of its workforce, were unceremoniously let go over email in mid-April. But whispers around the industry indicate that the layoff might actually be much bigger than 10%, perhaps even closer to 20%. The stock price is absolutely tanking. Tesla's total valuation was once a ridiculous $1.3 trillion. Today, that value is down to less than $500 million and dropping.
That's a stupid amount of money. Isn't General Motors only worth like 50 billion?
Yeah, if Tesla is an auto manufacturer, its value has a long way to fall before it's in line with other auto manufacturers. But it also doesn't make sense the stock price has stayed so high amid all of the company's controversies. Multiple lawsuits over much of the company's history have accused the company of lying about how much money it's making in order to inflate its stock price. Tesla has received hundreds of millions of dollars from the government for a battery swap technology that was never made available to the public and turned out to be a giant scam. It's no secret Tesla is shitty to its workers, fighting unionization efforts here and overseas. He's even threatened his own employees on Twitter when he should be being CEO. Like, how do you find the time, my dude? There have been tens of thousands of reports of Teslas being shitty, from things as minor as poor quality builds to serious issues like sudden uncontrollable acceleration. Don't want that in a car. Faulty braking, that's not good either. Range issues that the company itself has suppressed. An operating system that can be hacked and controlled by outside entities. Batteries that spontaneously light on fire. The suspension suddenly collapsing, leading to something called Wompy Wheels, which sounds like a carnival ride, to one tragic story of a Tesla reversing into a retaining pond with its driver trapped inside, and first responders unable to break in as the woman drowned. That woman, by the way, was Mitch McConnell's sister-in-law, and that just happened this year.
Jesus Christ.
You don't want a car to do that.
No, it sounds like they're put together like carnival rides.
Now, I've been saying that Elon isn't the one who's actually making the cars because he's not a real engineer, and that's true. But Tesla, more than most companies, lives and dies by public perception of Elon. The company is trapped by the innovator cosplay Elon insists on dressing himself in.
Which is why Elon's public image impacts the price of the company's stock so much.
Exactly. The stock market is mostly fueled by wishes and hopes and dreams. And if people don't believe in Elon, they don't believe in Tesla. If Elon is a scam, then Tesla is a scam. And Elon is real scammy.
Scammy.
As all this stuff is happening, a series of embarrassing public disasters continue to make Teslas look more and more like clown cars. Back in December 2023, Tesla issued a recall for an eye-watering 2,031,220 vehicles after a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration investigation found that the auto steer function wasn't safe. The Cybertruck, long cheerleaded by Musk, is an ugly, clunky embarrassment that has publicly face-planted.
Yeah. Sure? Yeah. Oh my God. Well, maybe that was a little too hard. Should we try it? Sorry?
What?
It
Yeah.
didn't go through. So that's a plus side. Let's try that. Right? Try that one? Really? Okay. Sure. Oh, man. It didn't go through.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
What?
Not bad.
Things only went downhill for the Cybertruck from there. And it's a good thing, too, because if it's muddy, downhill is the only direction a Cybertruck can go without getting stuck. Fuck. The Cybertruck, like many Tesla offerings, has experienced delivery delays, systemic failures, safety issues, quality issues, and also can't haul shit. Its battery doesn't last as long as Tesla's sales material promised it would, especially in cold weather. Some observers have pointed out that it seems like Tesla is making consumers pay for and beta test a product that isn't actually ready for market. The Cybertruck is what you might call a gender-affirming car for men who want to prove to the world that they have $100,000 to throw away on the world's shittiest vehicle. Tesla recently announced that they're halting production of the electric Ford Pinto of our times. Good night, sweet prince.
And even at its newest and shiniest, it still looks like the armadillos that Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck drove on the asteroid in Armageddon, a movie from 1998. Just saying.
Meanwhile, other automakers are getting into the EV game, and some of them are bringing cars to market that are more attractive, affordable, and have less PR nightmare CEOs than Tesla does. All of this has meant that Tesla's market share has diminished and its share price has tanked as its sales and production outlook has dimmed. Musk is betting that his company will be able to get out ahead of the autonomous taxi market, something that nobody outside of like 500 people in Palo Alto fucking want.
Plus, fully self-driving car technology doesn't exist, right?
It doesn't. Yeah. The technology used to be called fully self-driving or FSD, but they got in trouble with regulators because the technology does not actually work. Now the tech is being referred to as FSD with supervision. Still, Musk is all in on the tech, claiming that Tesla owners for the low price of $99 per month will one day be able to install the software on their cars, which can then work as autonomous taxis when the owners aren't using them. Your car can be your robot slave. I am not kidding. That's part of his business plan, Alyssa.
Okay, so if you have FSD on your Tesla, you still have to pay a subscription to use it? Fuck that.
I know. The thing about fully autonomous vehicles is that they're another Muskian fairy tale. Elon has been promising that the fully self-driving technology is right around the corner for so long. Except if you try to get around that proverbial corner in a Tesla, the car never makes the turn, the steering malfunctions. Next thing you know it, you've run head on into the broadside of a pizzeria.
So it also seems like a terribly stupid idea to reorganize city infrastructure around a massive fleet of robo-taxis when the roads are already congested. And, by the way, public transportation already exists. Couldn't we just use all that money that Elon wants to pocket and improve what we already have?
One would think. Actually, Elon has had it out for public transportation for a long time. Do you remember the Hyperloop? A stupider, more expensive version of trains? The Hyperloop is such a moronic idea that it almost pains me to say it out loud. Back when Elon was king shit of fuck mountain, aka before he developed whatever condition it is that makes it impossible for him to not run his big fat mouth all the time, Elon, quote, invented, unquote, a mass transit system that moves large numbers of passengers through low pressure tubes.
You mean like the plastic chutes at the drive-through bank?
Sort of. I like that vintage reference. Except bigger, more expensive with magnets and of course requiring massive amounts of money to be funneled to one of Elon Musk's companies. And once again, so many people fell for it. The Boring Company started as a subsidiary of SpaceX with the stated aim of digging holes for this stupid idea all over the place. MIT was investigating getting involved. There was talk of building one connecting LA and San Francisco, basically under the 5, if you know California, even though we could have just used that money to build a high-speed rail.
High-speed rail.
Between LA and San Francisco, which is something that people in both cities have wanted for decades. I don't understand. Elon never really wanted to build ultra-fast, large-scale mass transportation. He simply wanted to derail discussions of actual high-speed rail that actually worked because he owns a car company that depends on people not having comfortable, affordable mass transit options available.
So this whole plan was just to stop public transportation from getting better so he could sell more cars. Like the bad guy from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Exactly like that bad guy. Now, a little over a decade after Hyperloop mania took Silicon Valley by storm, all we have to show for it is a puny little tunnel that connects part of the Las Vegas Convention Center and some plans in other cities that will likely soon quietly disappear from the internet. Now that he's done his part to fill the highways and atmosphere with vehicles that sometimes explode and dig subterranean tunnels to nowhere, Musk has moved on to technology meant to be installed directly into the human body.
If I wouldn't get into one of his driverless taxis, why on earth would I let one of his companies install a chip into my brain?
The $1 trillion question. In 2016, along with a handful of actual scientists, Musk co-founded Neuralink after buying the trademark from the two neuroscientists who had actually founded Neuralink the year prior. The company's aim is to produce technology that can be implanted into the human brain. Neuralink has been under fire for killing an awful lot of the primates it's been testing on, but nevertheless, its chip was approved for human trials in 2023. Earlier this year, Musk claimed that a successful human trial had been conducted. I have yet to see a single piece of reported media that confirms this claim by somebody who isn't Musk himself or someone Musk is paying. But Elon girl-bossed a little too hard when he bought Twitter.
It really has been something to watch the whole world get wise to his bullshit at the same time.
Enough ink has been spilled about Musk's disastrous takeover of Twitter, once a flawed but functional town square, now the social media equivalent of a abandoned Blockbuster video that has been taken over by flea-infested raccoons. So let's not get bogged down by the details. What's most important is that thanks to his pathological desire to force people to like him, Elon's ineptitude has been on full display, calling into question his genius and business acumen in the rest of his portfolio. The acquisition of Twitter was characterized by drama and erratic behavior by Musk. In 2022, he first tried a hostile takeover of the company before winning the board's approval. But then, when he realized that $44 billion he'd offered to pay was way too much for a company that wasn't great at making money, he tried to back out. The board threatened to sue, but Musk relented, and the shotgun wedding between Elon and Twitter happened in October 2022. Elon financed the deal with some creative leveraging that ended up resulting in him having to sell a bunch of Tesla stock, driving the share price down, and thus his overall wealth down. Elon, it turns out, is not good at running Twitter. He fired or chased away 80% of the staff, likely violating several labor laws in doing so. He reinstated several accounts that had been banned for hate speech, relaxed rules around anti-trans speech and COVID-19 misinformation, gave a handful of doofus reporters access to internal Twitter files, plopped his cottage cheese ass into a desk chair, and tweeted as hard as he possibly could. And who can forget the blue checkmark fiasco? Blue verification checkmarks were long viewed as a class signifier in old Twitter, which made a lot of people wearing wraparound sunglasses in their user picture angry. So Elon got rid of the blue checks. The problem is that the checks also verified that people on the site were who they said they were, and that so-called official accounts were not imposters. And so, in the first days of the program's elimination, somebody pretending to be the official account of drug maker Eli Lilly declared that insulin was now free, among other imposter shenanigans.
It was actually quite funny.
It was one of the best days in Twitter history.
It was great.
Bleeding money, Elon tried to get Twitter users to pay $8 for the check marks, and people were like, fuck that, you clown. So the only people who had blue checks were suspiciously Elon fanboys and conservative super tweeters who would hassle anybody who complained about the new verification system by accusing them of being too poor or stingy to fork over $8 to one of the world's richest men.
I am shocked that trying to use bullying as a chief sales technique for Twitter's verification program was ineffective.
In April of this year, Twitter quietly restored blue check marks to several journalists and public figures without charging them $8. When several prominent Twitter users started swapping tips on how to hide the dreaded blue check of shame next to their names, Twitter removed their ability to hide the check. Researchers found that under Musk, hate speech increased dramatically on the platform. Anti-Semitic speech increased, as did propaganda originating from the Islamic State. Great job, Elon. Some of the hate speech, by the way, was amplified by Musk himself, like the time he publicly agreed with a tweet alleging that Jewish people hate white people. Musk responded by revoking access to Twitter's API, so now nobody has any idea just how bad things have gotten quantitatively. However, Alyssa, there is a workaround. You can still tell how bad Twitter has gotten by simply looking at it.
Yes.
And it turns out platforming unbridled free speech with virtually no moderation has meant that since Elon fired or chased out most of Twitter's legacy employees, the site has also become a haven for misinformation and child pornography. In early April, the Brazilian Supreme Court announced that they were investigating him for, quote, flagrant obstruction of Brazilian justice, unquote.
The chickens have to come home to roost eventually, right?
Yeah, and I would watch a show called Brazilian Justice. It sounds like a lot of fun. Twitter put on display how desperate Elon was to have people like him, despite his fundamental unlikability. In February 2023, Elon got upset that not enough people were engaging with his tweets and had some of his internal engineers investigate what was wrong. This story makes me so embarrassed.
So sad for him.
One of his engineers suggested that perhaps public interest in Musk himself was waning, and so Musk fired him. A few days later, when President Joe Biden's tweets about the Super Bowl got more engagement than Elon's, Elon demanded the engineers fix it or be fired. So they changed the Twitter algorithm so that regular users would be spammed with Elon's tweets, magnifying the automatic reach of Elon's tweets 1,000 times.
That is the saddest shit I have ever heard.
In 2023, via Twitter, he accused a young Jewish man named Ben Brody of participating in a neo-Nazi brawl as an Antifa member of a false flag operation. Brody wasn't even in the state where the brawl occurred. His family claims that Musk's amplification of the fringe conspiracy theory, based on nothing, had led to massive amounts of harassment and threats, and sued Musk for $1 million. Musk was deposed in March, and it went poorly. In the deposition, which Musk's lawyers unsuccessfully fought to seal, Musk at one point does not seem to understand what a lawyer does.
Darren, what about the people who stayed on Twitter even after Elon turned it into a haunted shopping mall?
Well, Elon has tried to turn Twitter into a landing pad for media personalities who had been canceled, or in normal English, faced consequences as a result of fucking up. He snatched up Tucker Carlson after Tucker's ouster from Fox News with promises that Tucker could create Twitter-exclusive content. But the site didn't have the technology to support the sort of thing Tucker wanted to make. Sounds familiar. And former CNN anchor Don Lemon was also invited to Elon's Tiki Torch rally, only to have his contract canceled days before Lemon's show was supposed to debut, after an interview Lemon conducted with Musk went off the rails.
Musk keeps claiming he loves free speech, but he doesn't like it when people talk shit about him.
Under Musk's flop sweat-soaked innovation, the value of Twitter, now X.com, the old chestnut, has fallen an estimated 65%. Elon's Twitter foibles have exposed him as an emotionally unstable, deeply weird, clueless phony who believes that acting like an asshole is the same thing as coming up with an idea. He's a business bridezilla with an unlimited budget, and his employees are just the hapless wedding coordinators trying to figure out how to bend reality to bring his ridiculous plans to fruition. And when he's confronted on his bullshit, he throws a fit. Who can forget this infamous public appearance?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f yourself. Go f yourself. Is that clear?
It's funny, he didn't used to seem as unhinged as he does now.
I know, I kind of wonder what it is, but there is a working theory out there. And
Failing?
That theory is, it's the drugs. According to a Wall Street Journal report from January, Elon has been known to dabble in such substances as cocaine, mushrooms, LSD, ecstasy, and ketamine. But last I checked, most people who go into a K-hole don't come out the other side a megalomaniac baby. And to prove he's cool and tough, he smoked weed on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Speaking of babies, doesn't he have like 1 million kids?
Yes. Elon Musk has 11 children by 3 different women.
Woo!
He had 6 children with his first wife, Justine Wilson, including 1 set of twins and 1 set of triplets, which were conceived via IVF. He has 3 children with the singer Grimes, who you may most recently remember for turning in one of the worst performances in Coachella history. Elon also has twins with an executive from his monkey-murdering enterprise Neuralink, a fact that came to light through a piece in Time magazine by Walter Isaacson. News of the twins with the Canadian Neuralink executive broke just days before news that he'd had his 3rd baby with Grimes broke.
Boy, that was awkward.
I've got questions about what's been going on, and I don't know for sure that I want the answers. In response, Elon made a weird joke about doing his part to repopulate the world. But he's long been weirdly obsessed with the birth rate because he said that he's worried there won't be enough people to move to his Mars colony. Musk has reportedly given $10 million to a population research project in Texas that aims to look into ways to increase the birth rate. So Elon wants there to be more people so that he can send them to Mars. Fine. Fine.
Go.
Problem that Musk's advice that everybody should father as many children as possible is that, like his father who came before him, Musk kind of sucks at being a dad. He is currently being sued over parental rights by his ex, Grimes, and one of his 2 oldest children, who came out as trans at age 16, openly hates her dad's guts for very understandable reasons. He once claimed that the word cisgender was a slur and urged all of his followers on Twitter to watch the Daily Wire documentary What is a Woman, hosted by human skidmark Matt Walsh. But maybe the shittiest thing Elon did in the fatherhood arena was change some key details about a tragedy to make himself sound like a hero. Elon's oldest son, named Nevada, died tragically from sudden infant death syndrome when he was only 10 weeks old. Many years later in 2022, via tweet, of course, Elon later claimed that the baby had, quote, died in his arms and that he, quote, felt his last heartbeat. Nevada's mother, his ex-wife Justine, disagreed, tweeting, "Not that it matters to anyone except me, because it is one of the most sacred and defining moments of my life, but I was the one who was holding him."
That he would claim that is just tragically deranged.
It is absolutely deranged.
It's like some of the sickest shit ever.
And, well, a year prior, Justine had written a Glamour magazine piece called "I Was a Starter Wife Inside America's Messiest Divorce" that, like many firsthand accounts of Elon Musk, make him sound like a total fucking dick. In that article, she wrote, Elon had called her open grief over Nevada's death emotionally manipulative.
Emotionally manipulative. Your child dies.
Her baby died. No wonder that marriage, like the Hyperloop, fully self-driving technology, the Cybertruck, and his version of Twitter, failed.
Whew! Well, that's as good a note to end on as any. What's extra crazy to me is that we can laugh at his awkward dancing and make fun of how unfunny he is thanks to the fact the government gives his company so much money and Tesla stock is such a huge part of the S&P, we all kinda own a stake in his clownery. Nobody should have as much money as Elon Musk has, and nobody should have their fingers knuckle deep in that many industries so important to things like communication, transportation, and national security.
Alyssa, I haven't even gotten to the cherry on top. In April, the same week that Tesla announced record layoffs, Elon once again asked the company board to approve a $56 billion pay package for himself that had been rejected by a judge in Delaware over the fact that its exorbitant size represented negligence of his fiduciary duties as CEO. Sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Can you imagine asking for $56 billion after sending so many people out into the street?
Evilest shit. Absolutely not.
Evil shit. The only way that Elon Musk is a true innovator is in his astonishing ability to oversell and underdeliver. His career is a series of fanciful, unkeepable promises, which a gullible media takes at his word. But maybe, just maybe, the jig's finally up.
Wow, Elon, I feel like we barely scratched the surface.
So on a scale of 1 to 5 weasels,
Woo!
Where's Elon?
Oh, he's got to be a hard 5 weasel for so many reasons. One, he's getting rich off our tax money. He's getting rich off our tax money, not doing shit with it, being mean to his kids, and not even getting to the moon.
Yeah.
Give me my money back. And he ruined Twitter.
Yes, I'm going to agree with you.
Okay, 5. Oh, we're in sync this week.
I say a hard 5 weasels for Elon Musk just because he has so much power and he amassed it in a way that I feel like everyone is like, oh, whoa. This guy's in charge of a lot of stuff. I don't know if there's a world in which he is no longer just like the crazy person driving the economy. And that is deeply, deeply upsetting.
Erin, that was a fun one. Thanks so much for tuning into this edition of This Fucking Guy.
If you enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you've got ideas for who should be the next subject of This Fucking Guy, leave it in the comments below.
This is the Met Gala 2018. I feel like the coolest thing about this that no one actually knows is the crown that I have on. We got the Vantablack people. You're not allowed to use Vantablack. It's like the blackest black that you can get. And we convinced the Vantablack people to send us a sample of it.
Elon Musk and Grimes have always had a relationship that fascinated and mystified the public. From the moment they met at a high-profile event and quickly became one of the most talked-about couples in the tech and music worlds, their relationship was far from conventional. Behind closed doors, Musk and Grimes faced challenges, ultimately resulting in a highly publicized split and a custody battle over their children. While Musk remained characteristically silent about the personal aspects of their lives, Grimes stayed mostly quiet as well, until now. Join us as we dive into the recent news when Elon Musk's ex-wife broke her silence and shocked everyone. Beginnings of Elon Musk and Grimes.
You know, my ex-husband, or as I sometimes like to think of him, my baby daddy.
There is no better way to start today's story about Elon Musk's ex and her latest statement that shocked everyone than by going back to the very beginning of their love story and how they met. When Elon Musk, the ambitious CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, crossed paths with Canadian musician Grimes in 2018, few could have predicted the turbulent, surreal, and headline-grabbing relationship that would follow. Their romance officially began in May 2018, but the spark ignited a little earlier on Twitter. Elon, who had recently ended a high-profile relationship with actress Amber Heard, engaged in a witty exchange with Grimes on the platform, where the two connected over a niche joke about artificial intelligence and a complex thought experiment called Roko's Basilisk. This quirky exchange highlighted the intellectual and abstract interests they shared, setting them apart from most celebrity couples. Soon after, Elon and Grimes decided to make their relationship public. They made a striking debut as a couple at the 2018 Met Gala in early May, an event notorious for blending high fashion with celebrity drama. Grimes, known for her eclectic style and artistic persona, appeared alongside Elon in a futuristic outfit that matched the Heavenly Bodies theme. The internet buzzed with curiosity. While their appearance together may have shocked some, it felt almost inevitable that these two mavericks had found each other. According to sources close to the couple, their relationship had already been simmering behind the scenes, but they had chosen to keep it private, perhaps anticipating the media frenzy that would soon follow. Friends hinted that Grimes saw Elon as someone capable of changing the world, while Elon admired Grimes for her originality and fierce independence. Yet the harmony of their budding romance was tested early on. Just a few months after their debut, rumors of a split emerged. In August 2018, the couple unfollowed each other on social media, sparking speculation that their relationship was already on the rocks. Around this time, controversy took a bizarre turn when rapper Azealia Banks claimed on social media that she had spent a weekend at Elon's home with Grimes. According to Azealia, she witnessed Elon under the influence while handling business affairs. The incident created an online storm, with Elon's team promptly dismissing Azealia's allegations as absolute nonsense. But this peculiar episode only fueled the public's perception of Elon and Grimes as a chaotic, unconventional duo. Despite this brief estrangement, the two reconciled shortly afterward. They were spotted at a pumpkin patch in Los Angeles, looking every bit the united couple as they spent time with Elon's children from his previous marriage. Their relationship had already proven to be a roller coaster, and it seemed that the ups and downs were only beginning. In early 2020, Elon made a shocking announcement. She was pregnant with her first child. Fans were surprised, but intrigued by her boldness, especially as Grimes openly discussed the emotional and physical challenges of pregnancy. She revealed that her song, So Heavy I Fell Through the Earth, was inspired by the experience of pregnancy and the complex feelings that accompanied her decision to have a child with Elon Musk. By May 2020, the world learned that Grimes and Elon had welcomed a baby boy with a name that seemed straight out of a sci-fi movie, XAEA-12 Musk.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
While Elon explained the name's significance,
the AE is like pronounced ash, and then A12 is my contribution.
Oh, why A12?
Archangel 12, the precursor to the SR-71.
Including references to a CIA aircraft and elements of artificial intelligence, the internet was as bewildered as it was entertained. Despite the challenges, the arrival of their child seemed to deepen their bond, even if the couple maintained a somewhat unconventional parenting approach. Elon often acknowledged that Grimes was handling the majority of the day-to-day parenting duties, allowing him to focus on his demanding roles at SpaceX and Tesla. However, by September 2021, the relationship faced its biggest test. Elon publicly confirmed that he and Grimes had broken up, citing the distance between them and their demanding careers as primary reasons. He explained that his work primarily kept him in Texas, while Grimes's projects anchored her in Los Angeles. On-again, off-again romance. However, their parting was anything but final. Just as fans were beginning to adjust to the news of Elon Musk and Grimes's split, hints emerged that the story was far from over. In October 2021, only a month after their semi-separation became public, Grimes took to Instagram with a light-hearted post revealing that she was still living with Elon. She added that she was more interested in exploring ideas like universal basic income through decentralized technology. For Elon and Grimes, love seemed to come in waves, and the next wave was as surprising as ever. In December 2021, they welcomed their second child, a baby girl named Exa Dark Sidereal Musk, nicknamed Y, born via surrogate. The announcement came as a revelation in March 2022 when Grimes sat down for an interview with Vanity Fair. Their daughter's name, like their son's, was strikingly unconventional, each element holding deeply personal meaning for the couple. While Exa was a nod to computing terms, Dark represented, according to Grimes, the unknown, and Sidereal was a unique spelling of sidereal, a term connected to astrology and space. The name seemed to perfectly reflect the intersection of their worlds, Grimes's artistic imagination and Elon's scientific ambitions. But the Vanity Fair interview held another twist. Grimes revealed that she and Musk were back together, though she described their relationship as very fluid. There was no real word for it, Grimes thought. She would probably refer to him as her boyfriend, though their relationship was fluid and defied traditional labels. They lived in separate houses, remained best friends, and saw each other frequently. For Grimes, this arrangement was ideal, a connection strong enough to transcend conventional expectations while giving them both the freedom they needed. She felt this was the best it had ever been, convinced that they just needed to be free. Yet, as if true to form for this unpredictable couple, the revival was short-lived. Just hours after her Vanity Fair story hit the stands, Grimes posted an update on Twitter. "Me and E have broken up again since the writing of this article, haha, but he's my best friend and the love of my life." She went on to say that her life and art were forever dedicated to the mission, a term that likely encapsulated their shared interest in pushing the boundaries of science, technology, and society. Though their romantic status had changed once more, their connection, part friendship, part creative partnership, remained intact. In August 2023, a new layer was added to the saga with the release of Walter Isaacson's biography of Elon, which shed light on the exhilarating, if slightly chaotic, side of Elon and Grimes's relationship. In one memorable anecdote from their second date, Elon reportedly took Grimes on a wild ride to a restaurant in a Tesla, where he demonstrated the car's autopilot by taking his hands off the wheel and covering his eyes. As if that wasn't dramatic enough, Musk later carved EM plus CB for Elon Musk and Claire Bauscher, Grimes's real name, into the wall of the restaurant. The story perfectly captured their shared love for adventure and perhaps a touch of recklessness. The final breakup. As a couple who made tabloid headlines from the beginning of their relationship, Elon Musk and Grimes were no strangers to the public spotlight. Their quirky romance, which felt equal parts futuristic and chaotic, often left fans wondering what could possibly come next. The answer arrived with a scandalous twist. Despite their on-again, off-again relationship, the couple went on to welcome a third child together in secret, a son named Technomechanicus, or Tau, as revealed in Walter Isaacson's biography of Elon in September 2023. But this time, rather than bringing them closer, the child's arrival marked the beginning of a final, definitive separation. It was the end of a relationship that had consistently captivated the public, and with it came a cascade of scandals, controversies, and constant provocations from Grimes. Not long after the news of their third child broke, Grimes seemed ready to move forward with her life. In March 2024, she debuted a new relationship with DJ Anima, an Italian-born electronic artist also known as Matteo Milleri. Grimes and Anima had worked together on her album Genesis, collaborating on the track Welcome to the Opera, which they performed live at the Tomorrowland Music Festival in 2023. With photos of her and Anima gazing into each other's eyes in front of a glowing art installation, Grimes announced their romance with the playful caption, "Beauty and the Beast." The pair's affectionate photos quickly gained attention, symbolizing her willingness to leave the Elon chapter behind. However, Grimes didn't leave her connection with Elon quietly. The singer soon took to social media, making thinly veiled comments aimed at her ex. With the wit and offbeat humor fans had come to expect from her, Grimes shared a list of types of guys she would never date, taking a direct swipe at Elon. Among the qualities she ruled out in potential partners was an obsession with space exploration, a not-so-subtle reference to Elon's passion for space projects through his company SpaceX.
Propagated those lessons to the SpaceX team, and there's just like an incredibly talented, hardworking team at SpaceX.
Elon, who had always been vocal about his ambitions for colonizing Mars and advancing space technology, became the target of her light-hearted trolling. No thanks, she seemed to suggest, to any partner more focused on leaving Earth than on connecting with the people on it. Her digs didn't stop there. Grimes, ever the iconoclast, seemed to revel in playfully needling her ex, posting philosophical musings about freedom, art, and the dangers of becoming too consumed by ambitious goals. To many, it felt like a commentary on Elon's high-stakes lifestyle, where innovation often took priority over personal connections. Grimes's remarks highlighted the contrasting paths they had taken. While Elon continued to throw himself into monumental projects like Starship and Starlink, Grimes appeared to embrace a more grounded artistic vision with her new partner, focusing on creativity, emotional exploration, and personal freedom. The provocations struck a chord with fans and tabloids alike, who eagerly followed each new post for hints of shade directed at Elon. While Musk maintained his silence on the matter publicly, Grimes's pointed remarks painted a portrait of a woman who was done with her role in his world, ready to embrace a new chapter entirely her own. Her relationship with Anima, marked by public displays of affection and artistic collaboration, seemed to be everything her partnership with Elon was not: the legal battle between Elon Musk and Grimes. Given the turbulent relationship between Elon and Grimes from the very start, everyone thought they would reconcile again, regardless of Grimes's new relationship. However, things were much more complicated this time than they seemed, and the public was not even aware of them. It all started after they secretly welcomed their third child, a son named Technomechanicus, or Tau, into the world, which added a new layer of complexity to an already intricate family dynamic. This time, the tension between Elon and Grimes escalated from private disagreements to a public custody battle, exposing the cracks in their co-parenting arrangement. The dispute centered around the custody and parental rights of their 3 children, with Elon allegedly restricting Grimes's access to one of her sons. Frustrated and seeking legal recognition of her parental rights, Grimes filed a legal petition on September 29, 2023, aiming to establish her parental relationship in court. Although the details of her filing were sealed, the move signaled a serious turning point in their relationship, sparking a scandal that would soon become a headline-grabbing legal showdown. The custody dispute quickly became a public spectacle when Grimes's mother, Sandy Garacino, took to X, formerly Twitter, the platform owned by Elon, to express her concerns. In a heartfelt post, Sandy made an emotional appeal, addressing Elon directly as she spoke about her family's pain. She wrote about her 93-year-old mother's deteriorating health and her shock at Elon's alleged refusal to allow Grimes the necessary documents to travel with their children to visit her ailing grandmother. It was a plea that highlighted the personal impact of Elon's actions, resonating deeply with the public and adding a new layer of drama to the unfolding case. For Elon, who already had a reputation for being a private yet polarizing figure, this publicized family dispute added to his recent wave of controversies.
On a bottle, or this jacket on a middle-aged man. Now, Tesla does deny that.
The timing of the custody battle coincided with Elon's appearance in court for 2 other lawsuits, unrelated to his family but significant nonetheless. In one, a man accused Elon of defamation for amplifying a false post that linked the man to a far-right protest in Oregon. In another case, a Florida company, X Social Media, filed a suit against Elon, claiming trademark infringement over the rebranding of Twitter to X. As Elon's legal woes mounted, the custody dispute with Grimes became part of a larger narrative of the tech mogul's turbulent personal and professional life. The rare sighting of Elon in Austin's Travis County Family Courthouse was a vivid reminder of just how serious the dispute had become. Elon arrived with a security entourage, underscoring the high-profile nature of the case. Inside the courtroom, Elon's team and Grimes' lawyers requested that proceedings remain closed to the public, citing both security and privacy concerns.
What do you think? Any more comments?
No, I can't comment, because it's legal stuff. But I'm curious what you guys think.
However, the secrecy surrounding the case did little to stop the media frenzy. For weeks, news outlets speculated on the causes of the fallout, with fans debating the influence of Elon's relentless work ethic and Grimes' struggle to maintain her identity amid their unconventional family structure. One of the most heated moments came when Grimes took to X to post a since-deleted message pleading with Elon to allow her access to their son. Her post, reportedly a reaction to an image posted by Elon's biographer, Walter Isaacson, showed Elon with twins he had fathered with Shivon Zilis, a tech executive at his company Neuralink. In her post, Grimes expressed frustration, saying she hadn't even been allowed to see a photo of the twins until that moment. "This is ripping my family apart," she wrote. Her words struck a chord with followers who saw her as a mother fighting for her children amid the towering shadow of Elon's complex family web. The situation only became more complicated after Grimes' apparent apology in a subsequent post, where she expressed hope to keep her children out of the public eye, yet the public interest only seemed to grow. By March 2024, as the legal proceedings moved forward, and as we already mentioned, Grimes debuted her relationship with DJ Anima on Instagram, signaling a fresh start, but also adding a new layer of provocation to her already strained relationship with Elon. With posts hinting at newfound freedom, Grimes seemed to subtly contrast her new relationship with the frustrations she had faced as Elon's partner. Red flag scandal. Remember when we said a little while ago that Grimes provoked Elon Musk after it became known about her new boyfriend at the beginning of this year? Well, in November, she took things to a whole new level. Following a quirky online exchange with singer Olivia Rodrigo, Grimes made headlines again by seeming to throw some subtle shade at Musk. The exchange began when Olivia shared her unique red flag question during an interview. She won't date someone who dreams of going to space. For Grimes, who co-parents 3 children with Musk, the billionaire constantly vocal about space exploration and colonizing Mars, Olivia's statement must have hit close to home. And indeed, Grimes quickly aligned herself with Olivia's view, adding fuel to the intrigue of her ongoing dynamic with Musk. Olivia's comment, shared during an Instagram interview with Netflix, initially seemed like just a funny personal take, yet it resonated widely. Olivia considered one particular question as a significant red flag when getting to know someone on a first date. She often asked men if they would want to go to space. If they answered yes, she took it as a sign not to pursue anything further. To her, the desire to venture into space indicated someone who might be a bit too self-centered. The comment was not only relatable, but also refreshing, as it gave a glimpse into how the young artist perceives ambition and humility. But when Grimes chimed in on X in agreement, her words carried an extra weight and an unmistakable sting for Elon. "It's true, only women should be going to space," she replied to a PopCrave post about Olivia's comment. The post quickly went viral, interpreted by many as another playful jab directed at Elon, her ex and one of the most prominent champions of space travel. Grimes' response stirred up a wave of speculation. Was this just another round of trolling Elon, or did it signal something more? For many fans, it's become a game of guessing Grimes' true intentions. Is she genuinely moved by the idea of avoiding space-hungry partners, or is she using it to playfully tease Elon? After all, few people personify wanting to go to space as thoroughly as Elon Musk. Grimes breaks her silence. However, all these guesses by the media, fans, and critics have led Grimes to want to tell her side of the story, the truth, and not allow everyone to keep guessing. So, Elon Musk's ex-wife broke her silence and shocked everyone. After years of cryptic posts and silence, Grimes finally decided it's time to tell everything. Grimes' revelations paint a complicated picture of Elon as a father. Despite his public persona as a tech visionary dedicated to a better future, it seems that future may not necessarily include a close-knit family. Grimes shared that Elon, though a figure of immense ambition, often seemed detached from the reality of family life. While he speaks passionately about populating Mars and ensuring humanity's survival, she suggests he was less invested in the day-to-day role of fatherhood. Her recent comments come amid Elon's tense relationship with his transgender daughter, Vivian. The story of Elon's daughter, who legally changed her name and cut ties with him, made headlines. Grimes didn't shy away from subtly addressing this, pointing out that his focus often seems to be more on population and reproduction than on nurturing or building close family relationships. Elon, who had once expressed concerns over global population decline,
What we face is population collapse.
reportedly took issue with his daughter's choices, emphasizing that her transition meant she could no longer reproduce, something that seemed to matter more to him than her well-being. Grimes' revelations have stirred up further scrutiny of Elon's parenting, especially in light of his estrangement from Vivian. Musk has claimed that his daughter's choices were influenced by what he described as neo-Marxist ideologies in elite schools. However, Grimes implied that his obsession with space and grand visions for humanity often pulled him away from his children. Sometimes, she said, it felt like we were on two different planets. This is not the first time Elon's role as a father has come into question. His first wife, Justine Wilson, also painted a picture of Elon as a largely absent father in her 2011 Tell-All article. She suggested that even when he was physically present, he was often engrossed in work. Grimes mirrored this sentiment, describing how she was left to handle the bulk of their parenting responsibilities alone, despite Elon's declarations of support for a larger family. Grimes' comments come on the heels of Elon's controversial interview with Jordan Peterson, where he dead-named and misgendered Vivian. Elon's dismissal of his daughter's choices and her autonomy, Grimes suggested, reveals a father who views his children through a lens of legacy and reproduction rather than individual well-being. For Elon, it seems, children are part of a broader demographic project, a view Grimes has struggled to reconcile with her own understanding of family. She noted that Elon's obsession with space was a particular sticking point in their relationship. His vision of a human settlement on Mars, she implied, felt distant and unrelatable when faced with the everyday challenges of raising children on Earth. To Grimes, the pursuit of space seemed an escape, a way for Elon to focus on something vast and impersonal, while his personal connections here on Earth grew strained. In her own way, Grimes has positioned herself as an advocate for the children they share, working to provide them with a sense of normalcy despite the demands of Musk's world. For her, children are individuals deserving of attention and affection, not simply agents of future growth or demographic pawns. Grimes' perspective offers a contrast to Musk's, bringing attention to the emotional realities of parenting that can be overlooked amid grand ambitions. Her decision to break her silence reflects a desire for transparency and perhaps an appeal for understanding. If you were in Grimes's position, would you choose to go public with your side of the story or keep it private? Why? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more.